Minister Netanyahu's speech to Congress next Tuesday. Joining us to discuss the implications of the speech, an expert on U.S.-Israel relations and a former liaison to Congress, Ambassador Yoram Ettinger. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Is the Prime Minister's insistence on making the speech to Congress helping or harming chances that the House and Senate will take steps to block the apparent Iranian nuclear deal?
Well, Congress considers the Prime Minister to be an expert witness on the issue of Iran, which is threatening most critical American, Israeli, and worldwide interest. In fact, behind the Prime Minister's trip to Washington, there is a very unique coalition of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, Dubai. All of them want Netanyahu to be in Washington. All of them have dismissed completely Secretary of State John Kerry and President Obama. They do not consider the U.S. to be of the same posture of deterrence as the U.S. used to be until 2008. They are mind-boggled about the track record of John Kerry and President Obama, both of whom, for instance, considered Hafez Assad and Bashar Assad to be constructive leaders and pressured Israel to give away the Golan Heights, both of whom do not recognize the reality of Islamic terrorism, both of whom believe that they should embrace the Muslim Brotherhood, the largest terrorist organization in the Middle East, and they have turned a cold shoulder towards Mubarak. They betrayed the Iranian opposition back in 2009.
Returning to the internal American politics, though, Kerry and Susan Rice have been criticizing Netanyahu, and Rice said that the Prime Minister is harming the usual bipartisan support for Israel. Are they correct?
Well, Susan Rice and John Kerry and President Obama do not enjoy the support of most American people when it comes to foreign policy. CNN poll, and CNN has been a systematic supporter of President Obama. A CNN poll, February 16, demonstrates that Americans consider Prime Minister Netanyahu's speech in Congress to be of vital interest. Americans do not agree with Obama's rebuke of Netanyahu, and certainly Americans consider Israel to be one of the top 5 major allies of the U.S. Today in the world. A Gallup poll of February 2015 shows 70% support of Israel, while only 17% support the Palestinian Authority, which enjoys the backing of President Obama.
The Israeli lobby, AIPAC, is heavily invested in the Iranian nuclear issue. Their conference next week has been somewhat put into disarray by the divisive nature of Netanyahu's Senate appearance. Might it not have been more effective if Netanyahu and perhaps opposition leader Herzog could have stood together at AIPAC to call for Congress to block what Israel views as a bad idea and a bad deal?
I think that a member of Knesset Herzog should consider it and join Netanyahu and appeal to Congress and to Obama to reject a bad deal. In fact, the Arabs, the pro-American Arab countries, have just called to reject the current deal because they say bad deal is much worse than no deal. But one should go back to 1981. 3 weeks before election in 1981, Prime Minister Begin bombed the Iraqi nuclear reactor. He was accused by the Israeli opposition of playing politics and undermining American-Israeli relations. In the short run, Mr. Begin was rebuked, condemned, and punished by the entire world. In the long run, it was that defiance of the U.S. which earned Israel long-term esteem, enhanced U.S.-Israel relations to the highest ever level, and in fact spared the U.S. a nuclear confrontation in 1991.
Ambassador Yoram Ettinger, thanks so much for being our guest,
Thank
as
you.
always.